Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Jochebed Isaacs, and thank you so much for joining us. This is the 6th lesson on the topic of imitation. So far, we have taught different types of imitation: naturalized imitation, object-cued imitation, gross motor imitation, as well as fine motor imitation. And if you remember back to our first lesson, we talked about how imitation gets more and more refined as a child develops. At first, they are able to copy big actions like clapping and then start becoming much more sophisticated, copying smaller actions like giving a thumbs up or giving an A-OK. Imitation, however, is actually more than just copying another person. It sometimes involves copying objects we see in our environment, like copying from a detailed Lego building set, copying when a teacher is writing on the board, or even putting a piece of furniture together based on the diagram. Activities like these require us to look at the object. Focus, which we learned in our previous series on attention. Keep the change we need to make in our short-term memory, make the change with our own model, and then look back again. Not only does this require imitation, it requires a great deal of attention. So today we're shifting gears a little bit and looking at object-based imitation, but teaching this through the program Block Imitation. For this program, you will need a container or bag of at least 20 pairs of identical blocks. Shown here are flat wooden blocks, but you can use foam blocks too, as long as you have different shapes like cubes and cuboids and triangles to work with. You will also need a thick piece of paper or just anything long to block your child's view temporarily during a later stage of the program. There are 3 key stages to the Block Imitation program. First is to build one block at a time and have a child copy every single time. Next is to build blocks in chains. So if an adult puts on 2 blocks at a time, the child follows suit. If the adult puts on 3 blocks at a time, the child again follows. Third is to present pre-built structures. This is when we pre-build the structures required and a child figures out what order to put the blocks in themselves. Let's start with 1 block at a time. This stage will be broken down by the final number of blocks we put on. First, sit opposite your child. So whatever you build will be a mirror image of theirs. Give them identical blocks they need to build what you will be building. Ensure both of you have a base block. A base block is a reference point for the child on where to start building. Say, do this and add 1 block on top, behind or next to that base block. Your child should copy. Say, do this again and add another block. Keep repeating this step until you reach the final number of blocks you were aiming for. Let's take a look.
All right, do this. Good job. Do this. Well done. Do this. Good job! Well done! Here you go. You got your animals, horse.
Next, we will teach block chaining. Block chaining is similar to adding blocks one at a time, but a child needs to follow the adult's actions continuously. This stage is broken down in exactly the same way, by the number of blocks. First, sit opposite your child again. Give them identical blocks they need to build what you will be building. Ensure both of you have a base block. Say, do this, and this, and this, while adding blocks one by one without stopping. Your child should be able to follow along at the same time.
Do this. And this. And this. Good job, well done. Here you go. Got your blocks. Should we build something?
Finally, let us look at how to teach the third stage, building pre-built structures. Again, this stage is broken down by the number of blocks that make up the structure, but starts at a minimum of 2 blocks for a structure. First, sit opposite your child. Next, give them an exact copy of the blocks you will be using. Third, temporarily block their view with the piece of paper while you build the structure they need to copy. This is so the child doesn't watch how you build it. They will need to figure this out themselves. Take the paper away and say, "Build this." Now your child should copy what you just built with their own blocks. Let's see an example.
Build this. Well done! Good job! Here you go! Bubbles! Woo! Pop, pop, pop!
For all 3 stages, there will be multiple steps in each stage. So do try to get 3 to 4 trials per step so they get enough practice. Also, always try to randomize the blocks we use. So if you build a structure with a red square and green triangle, build a different one the next trial, maybe a blue square and a red triangle. The number of blocks is still the same, but the child does not learn to memorize an answer. For children with a developmental age of about 2 years and above, you could even teach them how to build simple objects like boats or houses. These will help kickstart their ability to think and play imaginatively. Generalization also remains a key piece that you can do in many ways, like giving your child more blocks than they need. So they need to focus on only the ones that they are going to use. Even if you're using the same number of blocks, try changing up the colors sometimes. For example, giving your child a green rectangle while you have a red rectangle. Once your child masters the basics of this skill, there are so many ways we can make it part of everyday life. Try taking photos of more complex structures you have created so your child can pick out the cards and recreate them. This can become actually a really good self-occupying activity. The same principle of object imitation can also be taught using activities like Lego sets, necklace beading, and even 3D puzzles. Block imitation is truly a gateway to many object-based imitation skills, and overall just a fantastic independent activity for the future.
Pop quiz. When attempting the block imitation program, Lily notices that her daughter Ava is unable to copy the entire 3-piece building she built. Ava would take her piece of block and fiddle with it without making an attempt to copy Lily's building. How can this skill be simplified for Ava? Building the blocks with Ava 1 piece at a time, starting with 2 pieces of blocks, rewarding after each completed building, or all of the above? Yes, Lily can try doing all of these to help boost Ava's success. It is clear that perhaps Ava requires this program to be broken down to much smaller steps so that she can complete the expectations and feel successful. Additionally, using lesser blocks will help her maintain her attention as she completes the task. Using the right reinforcement will definitely help motivate her to learn. Andreas loves the block imitation program. His attention is well maintained throughout the tasks involving blocks, and he's generally motivated to do this program. What could be the next steps to be targeted with Andreas to further progress this skill? Using different shapes and colors of blocks for his building? Letting him refer to photos of buildings to imitate? None of the above? Or A and B? That's right. Andreas can proceed to learning to do this program using different shapes and colors, as well as referring to photos to build. The answer is D.
Now it's your turn. For the block imitation program, identify the level of difficulty your child is already able to do and which level they will need to start at. Secondly, break down the skill of block imitation for your child. And finally, begin teaching. If you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, Facebook to stay updated. Thank you so much for watching and staying with us in this series, and we will see you soon.